What's up guys, I got the Wingbits MGW310 here, the GEOnet, and Wingbits dual combo, and I'm gonna show you how to set it up. First off, let's just keep this simple. You put the rod in the bottom. I'm gonna install this inside just for demonstration purposes. Once you have the rod in, there's a cap at the top. You can pop this off. It doesn't actually come off the unit, even though some people rip it off. Don't do that. Then take the antenna and you just screw it in the top also. They say not to use any like pliers or vice grips or any of that stuff. Just use, regular human strength. Okay, and this is the unit. I'm gonna just put this here for now. Next part we need is the cable. This is 33 feet. Basically, you need to take this big pin connector that comes in it. There's a very special way to put this in the unit. So the pin, when it's down, it's gonna go in the back of the unit. Here. It locks in. Make sure it's tight so no water will go in. Okay, so that is pretty much the unit setup right there. The other end, if you're gonna do the Ethernet setup, you just plug this in and you'll be able to configure it. But we're gonna also need to power the unit. It comes with the power adapter, just plug it in. I have a handy dandy little extension cord here, so I'm just gonna plug this in. So this thing's getting power, and we're gonna do the Wi-Fi setup because that's the harder one. So let's show you the hard setup first. We can see it's lighting up. So basically for the Wi-Fi setup, it's gonna spit out a Wi-Fi network and we're gonna connect to it. So the next part is we just need to write down the serial number of our unit on a piece of paper or in a notepad, however you want. So I'll give you guys some context. Serial number is at the top here, SN, G, blah, 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 whatever. Write that down. This is gonna be our Wi-Fi login information. So on our Wi-Fi searched in on our computer, I'm gonna find the MGW310, I'm gonna connect to it. Once we're connected to it, we're gonna open up an internet browser and we're just gonna go to 192.168.10.1. That's the IP to the gateway here. So 10.1. Here we're just gonna connect it to our Wi-Fi network. Ours is Helium deploy _5G. The Wi-Fi password to our network. And for the minor key, this is a 12 to 18 character password you'll make yourself. No special characters, just, alphanumeric. So then press save. Once you get the configuration complete and the settings are applying, you'll notice that you get booted off of the MGW network and you'll be back onto your home network. So I'm back on my Helium deploy network. So the next step is to go into your router and find the IP of this. So this is going to be different for everyone. We use Unify. So, log into your router. Normally it's going to be like, you type in the IP at the top, like 10.0.0.1 or 192.168.0.1. That's almost like 90% of the routers right there. So just go to your router. You could go into the DHCP leases and you should be able to see an MGW310 in there somewhere. So here is ours, the IP to it right here. This is not your IP to the unit, this is only our IP to this. So I'm just going to write this down on a piece of paper for now, just so I don't forget. So basically the next step is to visit this. So we are just going to copy the IP address and go straight to it. Okay, so now we're at the login screen to the MGW310. We're just gonna put in the serial number. I asked you guys to write it down before. It's the same one we used to log into the Wi-Fi. So let's go put that in and then log in. So here we are logged into it. Okay, so once we're in the dashboard, that's good, it's working. So we're gonna need to move on to the next step. So first off, let's go to wingbits.com/dashboard. And we're going to click on your stations. So for most of you, before you bought this, you better have reserved a hex, because if you didn't, well, you might not even be able to set up this unit. So go to my stations, and what we're going to do, I have one in this account for HD, Helium deploy. So we're going to click link hyfix, and it's going to ask us for information. Again, this information is on this unit. So kind of a pain in the ass, but take my unit, whoops. So we're going to need the serial number. It's the one in the middle. There's one at the top that was for before. The one that we need right now starts with 0123. So we're just going to write that down on a little piece of paper here. And the reason why I'm telling you guys to write this on a piece of paper is because once this is on the roof and if you need this information again, you don't want to go back up on the roof. So that's why I'm doing it this way. Okay, so that was like a long serial number. And there's one more. All the way at the bottom, what you're going to need to do is write down the secret. So it's the last thing. We'll just write down that. Makes it really annoying to write down when I have the poles in. So yeah, it's asking for a device serial. That is the 0123, like that's on my screen right now. So I will fill this in, case sensitive, of course. Okay, and now for the device secret is the second thing we wrote down. So again, case sensitive, and then we will just link device. Hopefully I wrote everything right. So it says it has been successfully linked in the corner, so that is good. And yeah, that is basically the device now. So eventually our station will show online, like right here. So we did it. We're not going to see many planes from ours inside. It's supposed to be on the roof, but so this is how you set up the WB200. And I know this is an MGW310. It has another step for the GEOnet portion, but if you do have a WB200, you're pretty much done right now. So that has been set up. So for people with the GEOnet version, you're going to have to follow just how to add the GEOnet portion to their console, and then we're done with that. Let's move on to the next part, the GEOnet part. To add this, we go to console.geonet.com. I'm here right now, and we're going to sign in. If you don't have a username, we're just going to make one. So I'm just going to make a company one right now. Okay, so let's log in with our new created account. So once we're here, we're logged into our account. We're going to go to mine. First, I have to verify my email still because I clearly didn't. I actually don't think I could verify my email. Maybe this should be part of the video. Oh, okay, so I had an issue with mine and I had to resend the email again. So yeah, anyways, once you verify your email, go to mine. And what we're gonna do here is go to add new miner. So the miner serial, this is gonna be the first thing on the top up here, the first one. We wrote it down before to log into the Wi-Fi password. So I'm just gonna type that in. The nickname, we're just calling it Helium Deploy HQ. The miner key, on our little piece of paper that I told you guys to write something down, it's your custom made password. So in this case, it's Apple Pie 9999. But yeah, everyone made their own little keys, so that was ours. And then there's a little verification code. Obviously it's gonna be different for everyone. So then we press add. Okay, so I've successfully added the GEOnet portion of this. There are some settings that we will probably want to turn on, and it's here. Just scroll to the side and just turn on token issuance. This means it will send us our tokens. If you don't check that off, they're never going to get sent. It's kind of weird. And for wallet, in here, you could set up and connect your wallets. I'm not going to do that now. That is basically how you finish off the GEOnet portion of this. If you want to check out your machine, ours is inside, so it's going to probably not even be working. Just go click on our little hex here, and you can see, all the stats of it. But yeah, since ours is inside, it's going to be doing nothing really. So we're going to have to bring it onto the roof and show you some of the dashboards when it, shown some interesting information. So I will see you guys on the roof. Obviously, this needs to go outside on the roof and can't be inside. But yeah, that's for you guys to figure out. You got to mount it. We took the unit outside where it's actually supposed to be, not inside. Unfortunately, we can't do a permanent install on this building because we're obviously not allowed to drill into the building. But we did bring it on a tripod. And just what I wanted to show you guys in the computer now, I have up the GEOnet dashboard, and we could see here it sees the 34 out of 34 satellites, which is great. It still needs to populate. Obviously, it's been online for a minute or two. But yeah, just to show that once it's installed properly, you're going to be able to see, the maximum amount of satellites. This location ain't the best because there's high buildings and stuff, but this direction where you can't see too much is kind of open. But moving on to the Wingbits also, here we can see it found 35 satellites. It still needs to start, catching planes and stuff. I don't know if it's going to show some right now. Just refresh, see. No, not yet. Once it's outside, you're going to start locking on the satellites and start reporting planes and stuff like that. Yeah, so like I was mentioning before, this is obviously not a good permanent install. This is just for the video to show you how it needs to be outside to lock onto GPS and stuff like that and view planes. if I were to do a real install here, well, first of all, I would go on the roof even higher, but I can't right now. But what I would do is just grab this and like come at the wall and place it behind a stud so we could drill into it here. And yeah, you put like the 3 brackets so it doesn't like move in the wind and stuff like that. And then you would need to figure out how to run this inside. Obviously everyone's house is going to be different, or commercial building, you'll figure it out. So yeah, this way it's got like a nice clear line of sight, like over here. Still kind of obstructed by the buildings, but hey, what can you do? Some buildings, like some locations are just going to be, you know, worse than others. But yeah, this is basically how you install the MGW 310 and, you know, the WB200. It's kind of the same unit pretty much, other than the GEOnet portion. I kind of skipped over the Ethernet guide, but yeah, instead of connecting it to Wi-Fi, there's this like Ethernet plug over here. I could show you. So this is definitely not how you're supposed to walk around with the unit, but at the end of the cord, there is an Ethernet. If you were going to do it the Ethernet setup guide way, you just plug this right into the router, and you kind of have to, like, you would skip all the unnecessary Wi-Fi setup. So, you know, the Wi-Fi setup is much more complicated. That's why I wanted to film that one. And yeah, this is the unit, and something you definitely should not do, just so people don't fuck their unit up. Don't like hold it by this part, you hold it by the pole. And yeah, that is the MGW 310 setup guide. So if you have any questions about the MGW 310 or the WB200, leave them in the comments below. DePIN Daddy signing out.